All of us. Pretty much all of us.
Is this the state's backup crew? Yeah.
She predicted 145.
140. I was 7 minutes off. 3:30.
And they came in at
I know.
147.
and you predict.
140.
I know. Yeah, they bring her a candy bar.
Fastest verdict I've ever covered in 20 years, 7 minutes flat. It was Martin County. It was a Jimmy Rice case. You know, it's like sexual offenders. Yeah, they were like, don't ever let this guy out. Longest verdict, 3 weeks. Turnpike trial in the federal family of 4 that was killed on Turnpike. Yeah, 90. 3 weeks. Oh, that it lasted 3 months altogether. It took 2.5 weeks to see the jury because they had 4 defendants and they had like 30 counts each, and they were all tried together. Yeah. So they had the ringleader's girlfriend, and the 2 killers that were that took out the Escobedo family. You know, I still text with the mom of Jose Escobedo, the guy who was killed.
That might be okay.
And every single year on the anniversary of their death, they have a memorial service done.
This one,
So I'm going to turn it off right now, so we're not.
I wrote like a
saving battery.
20-year or 15-year look back, so I texted them in Texas. Yeah, they sent me pictures.
You have my phone.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget that. I covered that with a gal in the Palm Beach Post, and we became best buddies, even though we were supposed to be competing against each other. We were like, screw that, you know. Now we all are owned by the same company, so I'm glad that we're not. You get the email. You're right. 30 years, 15 years, so 45 max if, you know, the judge runs it.
And then he moved.
You should say, don't call you, take a video first, take pictures, and then call.
hey, how are you?
Hey.
Good to see you.
Yeah, welcome. Wish it was under better circumstances, that's for sure.
So I have this, I have school resource.
Wait, you have school resource too?
Yeah, I have training and community engagement.
Man, you are one
I'm going to go grab the other items that are still sitting in the hallway.
Everything nobody else
Everything
wants.
in the wagon.
Yeah, that's what it is. You're the only sucker who said, okay, I'll do it.
No, I didn't get asked.
Yeah, you were volunteering to do it.
Yeah, I did 7 months in CID and then the closed. Now that I'm over here, everybody that works for me works Monday to Friday. They're all working by 5 o'clock. So I get no night call. Weekends off.
Yeah, and so, you know, there is some perks to it, right? Yeah. Except for like if a trial doesn't work, but, you know, lawyers don't have. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
I'm sure that your mom told her that don't bring any personal items with you.
All rise. Circuit court is now back in session. Be seated.
All right, we are back on the record. State of Florida versus Ariana Colon, case number 2021 CF 2405. Ms. Colon is present with counsel, Ms. Miller for the state. I've been informed that we have a verdict. Both sides ready to receive that verdict.
Before we continue, I just had a conversation with Mr. Stone and would ask if they can put a matter on the record before we receive the verdict as to trial strategy by the defense.
That's fine, before the
Yes.
jury comes back. Now, Mr. Stone, I assume that you had a full conversation with Ms. Colon regarding your strategy to waive closing, is that correct?
That is correct, Judge. I did have a conversation with her about that as it relates to the strategy, and she was aware of it. So,
Ms. Colon, you and your attorney, don't tell me what you discussed, the content of it, but you did have a conversation about whether or not he would give a closing argument, is that correct? Okay. And did you agree with his decision then? So this was with your consent that he waived that closing, correct? Okay. All right, and before the jury comes in, I know this is an emotionally charged case. If there is anybody in the courtroom who doesn't believe that they can contain their emotions when that verdict is rendered, please take this opportunity to step into the hallway, because I will not tolerate any outbursts. All right, let's get over this. All right, the jury has returned to the courtroom. Everybody please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my understanding that you've made a unanimous verdict. Is that correct?
Yes.
Who has the verdict form? Ms. Sotero, you are the foreperson?
Yes.
You'll hand that verdict form to the deputy? All right, the verdict appears to be filled out correctly. Jim can publish the verdict, omitting caption.
We, the jury, find Ariana Aaliyah Colon as to count 1, guilty of leaving the scene of a crash involving death as charged in the information. If you find the defendant guilty of leaving the scene of a crash involving death, then you also must answer the following special interrogatories. We, the jury, find beyond a reasonable doubt that in committing the offense of leaving the scene of a crash involving death, Ariana Colon caused YG's death. Yes. We, the jury, find beyond a reasonable doubt YG was a pedestrian. Yes. As to count 2, guilty of vehicular homicide, as charged in the information. So say we all on this 25th day of January, 2024.
Does either side wish to have the panel questioned as to the verdicts individually?
No, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I also wish to advise you, as some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. Although you are at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you are also at liberty to refuse to speak to anyone. A request to discuss either your verdict or your deliberations may come from those who are simply curious, from those who might seek to find fault with you, from the media, from the attorneys, or elsewhere. It will be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. This time, now that you've rendered your verdict, I am going to discharge you with the sincere appreciation of all involved. Thank you very much. If you'll give your badges to the deputy, we'll return all of your personal belongings. Have a good day, folks.
You take care of that there. Just mark your stuff.
All right, everybody, please be seated. All right, based on the jury's verdict, Ms. Cologne will be remanded until sentencing. Mr. Stone, is there an entitlement to a pre-sentence investigation?
Judge, there is an entitlement to pre-sentence investigation.
You're requesting?
We are requesting.
All right. We will order a pre-sentence investigation, Ms. Cologne.
Judge, I will ask that considering she has no prior criminal history, has never had any contact with law enforcement, she's been out since the incident over the course of several years. She's always been present and all of the court proceedings with the court consider allowing her to remain out on bond pending sentence.
The bond is only good until verdict is rendered, so there is no bond at this point.
Right, Judge, in terms of posting a separate bond.
All right, at this time, I'm going to deny the request. She'll be remanded pending sentencing. I believe that the February 13th sentencing day is going to be too soon for the department to have our pre-sentence investigation prepared. So let's set this. Mr. Stone, do you have, and Mr. Miller for that matter, can you give me an estimation as to the length of the sentencing hearing for Ms. Cologne?
I would expect there would be some family members who would wish to testify and provide an impact statement and requiring the necessity of the translator as well. So I think probably from the state, 30 to 45 minutes, I think would be safe.
Mr. Stone?
Judge, I would agree. I think it will be at least an hour. We had a number of witnesses we anticipate we will have a sentence.
All right, let's schedule this for sentencing March the 12th. We'll put it at 9:30. Pre-sentence investigation order. Anything additional from either side at this time?
No, sir.
That is not it.
All right, we will be in recess. Thank you.
All rise.